Okay, let's move on to question number 1. A large organization is using Oracle Cloud infrastructure and has implemented a complex compartment structure. They have a root compartment with multiple nested compartments for various projects, teams, and environment. A virtual machine is created for a specific project in a development subcompartment. Which statement is incorrect the regarding virtual machine in this scenario? Okay, let's move on to option number 1. If necessary, the virtual machine can be moved to a different compartment within the tenancy. OCI support resource movement across compartment for organization flexibility. So not a correct choice. Moving on to option number B. The virtual machine is associated with a specific compartment and it cannot simultaneously exist in another compartment. So resource is OCI belongs to a single compartment at a time. So again wrong choice. Moving on to option number C. Access to virtual machine is only controlled by policy attached to the root compartment. Access to OCI resource like virtual machine can be governed by policies at any compartment level, not exclusively the root. So might be a potential answer. Let's keep it. Moving on to option number D. The virtual machine can interact with resources such as virtual cloud network in a different compartment. Across compartment interaction is allowed if policy and network configuration permits. So again the wrong choice. So option C will be the correct one. Okay, let's look into question number 2. When compared to IAM policies, what key advantage of utilization administration role for access control within OCI IAM identity domain? Okay, let's look into the options. Option A, provide granular control over user to specific compartment within domain. IAM policy, not administration role, governs compartment access. So wrong choice. Moving on to option number B, offers a wider range for permission combination than IAM policies. IAM policies offers more flexible and customizational permission than roles. So wrong choice again. Moving on to option number C, can be used to grant access to resource outside of an associated identity domain. Administration rules are scoped to their identity domain and don't extend beyond it. Might be a potential answer. Moving on to option number D, simplify access management by eliminating the need for complex creation. Administration rules simplify access control by removing the need to write custom IAM policies. Again, the wrong choice. So option C will be the correct one. Okay, let's look into question number 3. A company accidentally move a critical database instance to a different compartment within their OCI tenancy. The existing IAM policy were previously mapped to a database original compartment and granted access to authorized users. How will you impact user access to database? Okay, let's look into the options. Option A, existing IAM policy will continue to function normally regardless of compartment move. IAM policies are scoped to compartments. Moving the resource invalidates the original scopes. So wrong choice. Moving on to option number B. Compartment prevents resource movement, or once a resource is placed in a compartment, it cannot be moved. IAM allows moving resources between compartments if permission permitted. So again the wrong choice. Moving on to option number C. Access to database will be immediately revoked for all authorized users due to compartment change. IAM policies tied to an original compartment no longer apply after the move. Might be a potential answer, let's keep it. Moving on to option number D. Compartments are not covered by IAM policies. They only apply by resources. IAM policies explicitly govern access to resource within compartment. So again wrong choice. So option C will be the correct one. Okay, let's move into question number 4. You are backup. Okay, let's look into question number 4. You are backing up your on-premises data to an Oracle Cloud infrastructure object storage services. Your requirements are 1. Backup need to be retained at least full 31 days. Question number 2. Data should be accessible immediately if and when needed after the backup. Which OCI object storage tier is suitable for storing the backup to minimize cost. Okay, let's look into the option. Option A, infrequent access tier meets the 31 retention requirement and allows immediate access while offering lower storage cost than standard tier. Might be a potential answer, let's keep it. Moving on to option number B, standard tier provides instant access to incur higher cost without retention optimization. Not a potential answer we're looking for. Option number C, auto tiering tier. Auto tiering tier is not a selectable tier. OCI does not support automatic tier transition. So again the wrong choice. Moving on to option number D, archive tier requires a 30 days minimum retention and delays access due to restore time. So again the wrong choice. So option A will be the correct one. Okay, let's look into question number 5. You are managing an Oracle cloud infrastructure with a several instance and attached block volume. To optimize performance and cost efficiency, you consider enabling the detached volume performance auto tiering feature in the block volume service. What happens to the performance level of a volume when it is detached from an instance? Okay, let's look into the options. Option A, performance level is adjusted to higher performance. Higher performance increase cost and it's not applied for ideal volumes. So not a correct choice. Moving on to option number B, the performance level is adjusted to lower cost. Detached volume are turned to 0 VPUs and GBs to reduce cost when it's not used. Might be a potential answer, let's keep it. Moving on to option number C, the performance level remain unchanged. Auto tiering Auto tuning changes the performance level when a volume is detached, so it does not remain the same. So again the wrong choice. Moving on to option number D, the performance level is adjusted to balanced is the default for attached volumes, not for detached ones. So again the wrong choice. So option B will be the correct one. Okay, let's look into question number 6. Which traffic management steering policy facilitates the distribution of DNS traffic to a specific endpoint based on a geopolitical location of end users? Okay, let's look into the options. Option A, ASN tiering routes traffic based on autonomous system, not geographic location. So again the wrong choice. Moving on to option number C. Option B, proximity steering. Proximity steering uses network latency to determine closest endpoint, not geopolitical data. So again the wrong choice. Moving on to option number C, geolocation steering. Geolocation steering routes DNS traffic using the user's geographical location. Might be a potential answer, let's keep it. Moving on to option number D, IP prefix steering routes based on IP address ranges, not geopolitical boundaries. So again the wrong choice. So option C will be the correct one. Okay, let's look into question number 7. Which two keys benefits for setting up site-to-site VPN on Oracle Cloud Infrastructure OCI? Okay, let's look into the options. When setting up site-to-site VPN, it's create a private connection that provides consistent network experience. Site-to-site VPN creates a secure private link that ensures stable connection between networks. Might be a potential answer, let's keep it. Moving on to option number B. When setting up site-to-site VPN, customers can expected bandwidth above 2 Gbps. Site-to-site VPN bandwidth is limited and does not guarantee speed above 2 Gbps. So not a correct answer. Moving on to option number C. When setting up site-to-site VPNs, OCI provision redundant VPN tunnels. OCI set up dual VPN, ensure connection reliability and failover support. So might be a potential answer. Moving on to option number D. When setting up site-to-site VPN, customers can configure it to use static and dynamic routing. Routing options like static and BGPs are configurable, but they are setup features, not core advantage of site-to-site VPNs. So again the wrong choice. So option A and C will be the correct one. Okay, let's look into question number 8, which is not action within the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure block volume service. Option A, cloning is existing volume to a new large volume. OCI support cloning volume and realizing during the process. So not a potential answer. Option number B, expanding an existing volume in a place with offline resizing. Volumes can be resized in place while detached. So again the wrong choice. Moving on to option number C, attaching a block volume to an instant in a different availability domain. Block volume must reside in the same availability domain as an instance. So might be a potential answer. Moving on to option number D, restoring from a volume backup to a large volume. Backup can be restored to volume to greater size than the original. So again the wrong choice. So option C will be the correct one. Okay, let's look into question number 9. By default, OCI IAM policies follow the principle of least privilege. What does the principle mean in the context policy creation? Okay, let's look into the options. Option A, policies should grant all possible permission to simplify access control. Giving full access contracted the goal of minimizing permission. So not a potential answer. Option number B, policies should be written in complex and technical manner to enhance security. Complexity does not guarantee security and may reduce clarity. So again the wrong choice. Moving on to option number C, policies should be identical for all users within a tenancy. Different roles require different permission. Uniform policies violates least privilege. So again the wrong choice. Option number D, policies should be provide only the minimum set of permission required for users to perform their task efficiently. Provide minimum required permission aligns with least privilege by limiting access to only what needed. So option D will be the correct one. Okay, let's look into question number 10. Which Oracle Cloud Infrastructure identify the access management policy is invalid? Okay, option number A, allow any user to inspect user tenancy. Using violates OCI policy syntax which requires to define group or dynamic group for access control. Might be a potential answer, let's keep it. Moving on to option number B, allow group default A admins to manage all resources in compatible project A. Assigning full resource management to a named group is a specific compartment follows valid OCI policy structures. So not the correct choice. Moving on to option number B, allowing group default A developers to create volumes in a compartment project A. Granting volume creation rights to a group within a compartment aligns with OCI permission from block storage. So again the wrong choice. Moving on to option number D, allow dynamic group default frontend to manage instant family in a compartment project A. Authorizing a dynamic group to manage compute instance in a compartment conforms to OCI IAM policy syntax. So in the wrong choice. So option E will be the correct one. Okay, let's look into question number 11. A company has deployed a multiple application in Oracle Cloud Infrastructure with web server in a public subnet and database server in a private subnet. The database server needs to access data from object storage, and the company wants to ensure that this communication is secure and not exposed to a public internet. Which OCI feature should we use? Okay, let's look into the options. Option A, use NAT gateway to enable private access to object storage. NAT gateway enables secure access to object storage from private subnet without exposing traffic to internet. Might not be a potential answer. Moving on to option number B, use a VPN gateway to create an encrypted tunnel to object storage. VPN gateway ensure traffic between an on-premises OCI and not for the internal access for OCI services with like objects. So not a potential answer again. Moving on to option number C, use a server gateway to establish a secure connection to object storage. Server gateway is not a valid OCI networking compartment for access object storage. Might be a potential answer. Let's keep it. Moving on to option number D, localized peering gateway connect VCNs within a region, not steering access of OCI service like object storage. So not a question answer again. So option C will be the correct one. Okay, let's look into question number 12. You just got a last minute request to create a set of instance in Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. The configuration and install software and identical for every instance, and you already have running instance in your OCI tenancy. Which image options allow you to achieve this task with the least amount of effort? Okay, let's look into the options. Option A, bring your own image and use it as template for new instance. Importing external images add prep steps, making it less efficient. So not the correct answer. Moving on to option number B, create a custom image and use it as a template for a new instance. Custom image capture exact setup, enabling fast replication and minimal effort. Might be a potential answer. Moving on to option number C, use Oracle provide images and customization the installation using a third-party tool. Manual customization increase setup time and complexity. So again the wrong choice. Moving on to option number D, select an image from OCI Marketplace. Marketplace images may not be match up your setup, requiring extra configuration. Again the wrong choice. So option B will be the correct one. Okay, let's look into question number 13. Which statement is true about file system replication in Oracle Cloud Infrastructure? Option A, you can replace the data in one file system to another file system in same region or a different region. OCI support replication across region and availability domain. So might be a potential answer. Moving on to option number B, you cannot specify a replication interval when you are creating a replication resource. OCI allows setting a replication interval during replication resource creation. So again the wrong choice. Moving on to option number C. You cannot replicate the data in one file system to another file system only in same region. Across region, replication is supported, not limited to same region replication. Again the wrong choice. Moving on to option number D. Only a file system that has been reported can be used as a target file system. Only a file system that has never been exposed can be used as a replication target. So again the wrong choice. So option A will be the correct one. Okay, let's look into question number 14. You are managing a complex environment consistent of compute instance running Oracle Linux on Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. You want to apply all the latest kernel security updates to all instances. Which OCI service would you use? Option A, OS Management Hub Service manages an implied kernel and OS updates across Oracle Linux instance. Might be a potential answer. Moving on to option number B, DataSafe. DataSafe focuses on database security and compliance, not OS level patching. So wrong choice. Moving on to option number C, Container Registry. Container Registry store and manage containers images unrelated to OCS update. So again the wrong choice. Moving on to option number D, Artifact Registry. Artifact Registry manages built artifacts, not operating system or kernel updates. So again the wrong choice. So option A, OS Management Hub service will be the correct one. Okay, let's look into question number 15. Which is the primary function of the network path analyzer tool provided by Oracle Cloud Infrastructure? Okay, let's look into the options. Option A, providing real-time monitoring for network service to detect security threats and unauthorized access attempts. Security monitoring is handled by tools like OCI Cloud Guard, not NPA. So again the wrong choice. Moving on to option number B, optimizing network performance by dynamically adjusting routing path based on traffic patterns. NPA does not adjust routing, it analyzes static configuration. So again the wrong choice. Moving on to option number C, collecting and analyzing network configuration to identify virtual networking configuration issues impacting connectivity. NPA inspects routing and security setups to detect connectivity problems. So might be a potential answer. Let's keep it. Moving on to option number D, sending actual traffic between sources, and destination to diagnose connectivity issues. NPS simultaneously path using configuration data without transmitting packets. So again the wrong choice. So option C will be the correct one. Okay, moving on to question number 16. Which components are required at a high level for establishing remote peering between two virtual cloud networks in Oracle Cloud Infrastructure? Okay, let's look into the options. Option A, two VCNs with no overlapping CIDRs in the same region, a dynamic routing gateway attached to each VCN, and direct connection between the DRGs. DRGs do not connect directly. Remote peering uses RPCS to establish the link. Not a potential answer. Moving on to option number B. Two VCNs with overlapping CIDR is different region, a virtual private network gateway attached to each VCN, and a direct connection between the VPN gateways. VPN gateways is an on-premises connectivity. Overlapping CIDRs are invalid. So again the wrong choice. Moving on to option number C. A single VCN with no overlapping CIDRs in each region, a dynamic routing gateway attached to each VCN, and a direct connection between the DRGs. Remote peering requires two distinct VCNs, not a single VCN split across the region. So again, wrong choice. Moving on to option number D. Two VCNs with no overlapping CIDR in the same region, a dynamic routing gateway attached to each VCN, a remote peering connection (RPC) on each DRG, and a connection establishing between the RPCs. Remote peering requires DRGs with RPCs on each VCN and a connection between them using no overlapping CIDRs. So option D will be the correct one. Okay, moving on to question number 17. You want to run compute virtual machine instance in Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. Your business unit has to follow requirements that need to be considered before you launch the VMs. Requirement 1. Shared infrastructure should not be used to deploy VMs. Requirement number 2. Meet node-based license requirement that require you to license an entire server. Which compute capability type should you select to meet these requirements? Okay, let's look into the options. Option A, on-demand capacity. On-demand capacity uses shared infrastructure doesn't need isolation or licensing need. So not a potential answer we're looking for. Moving on to option number B. Dedicated host. Dedicated host provides full server tenancy, satisfying both isolation and licensing requirement. So might be a potential answer. Let's keep it. Moving on to option number C. Preemptive capacity runs on shared infrastructure and may be reclaimed at any time, making it unsuitable for guaranteed workload. So again the wrong choice. Moving on to option number C. Option number D. Capability reservation ensure resource availability but still run instance on shared infrastructure. So again the wrong choice. So option B will be the correct one. Moving on to question number 18. Your plan to launch a VM instance with the VM standard, Flex shape, and Oracle Linux 8 platform image. You want to protect your VM instance from low-level threat such as rootkits and bootkits that can be infect the firmware and operation system and are difficult to detect. What should you do? Okay, let's look into the options. Option A, use vulnerability scanning service. Vulnerability scanning services detect known vulnerability but not low-level firmware threats. So not a potential answer. Moving on to option number B. Create a burstable instance. Burstable instance refer to CPU performance flexibility, not security. So again the wrong choice. Moving on to option number C. Create a shielded instance. Shielded instance protect against rootkit and bootkit using secure boot and TPMs. So C might be a potential answer. Moving on to option number D. Use in-transit encryption. Secure data in motion, not the boot processor or firmware. So again the wrong choice. So option C will be the correct one. Okay, let's look into question number 19. In the context of Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, compute service which statement about instant configuration and instant pools in true. So looking into option A, an instant pool can multiply instant configuration association with it. Each instance pool is tied to a single instance configuration, not multiple. So again the wrong choice. Moving on to option number B, you can only delete an instant configuration if it is not association with an instance pool. There is a misleading worded. The correct phrasing is you can delete, not you can only delete. So again the wrong choice. Moving on to option number C. You can delete an instant configuration if it is not associated with instant pool. OCI allows election of an instant configuration only when it is not linked to an instant pool. So option D might be a potential answer. Let's keep it. Moving on to option number D. You cannot reissue the same instant configuration for multiple instant pools. OCI supports reusing the same instant configuration across multiple pools. So option D will be the correct choice. Okay, let's look into question number 20. A client has reported they cannot access a file system even though through their IP address is allowed in an export option. Upon investigation, you realize that a security list rules is blocking access to the mount target. Which layer need adjustment? Option A, Unix security layer. Unix permission affect file levels access, not security connection to a mount target. So not a potential answer. Moving on to option number B, interface export option. Export option validates sources IPs but don't override block traffic at the network layer. So not a potential answer. Moving on to option number C, network security. Security list rules control traffic to mount targets, so access issue requires adjustment at the network layer. Might be a potential answer, let's keep it. Moving on to option number D, IAM service. IAM policy governs user action to the console, not runtime network access to the file system. So not a correct answer. So option C will be the correct choice. Okay, let's move on to question number 21. You create a file system, then add 2 GB file and then you take a snapshot of the file system. What should be the total megabyte shown by the file storage service after the hourly update cycle is complete? Okay, let's look into option number A, 2 GB. 2 GB reflects only the live file size, excluded snapshot storage excess overheads. So not a potential answer. Moving on to option number B, 3 GB. 3 GB megabytes includes live data, 2 GB plus snapshot metadata, typically for 1 GB, totaling approximately 3 GB. So might be a potential answer. Let's keep it. Moving on to option number C, 4 GB. OCI does not double count snapshot data unless it's diverged significantly from the source. So not a potential answer again. Moving on to option number D, 2.5 GB. Snapshot overhead is functional. OCI typical adds 1 GB per snapshot. So not a correct choice again. So option B will be the correct choice. Okay, let's move on to question number 22. As a network architect, you have been tasked with creating a fully redundant connection from an on-premises data center to your virtual cloud network in the US Ashburn 1 region. Which two options will accomplish this requirement? Okay, let's look into the options. Option A, configure a site-to-site VPN from a single on-premises CPE. A single VPN connection lacks redundancy and creates single point of failure. So not a potential answer. Moving on to option number B, configure one fast connect virtual circuit to the US Ashburn 1 region and a site-to-site VPN to the US Ashburn 1 region. Combining Fast Connect and VPN provides fast diversity and failover between two different connection types. So might be a potential answer. Let's keep it. Moving on to option number C. Configure one fast connect virtual circuit to the US Asburn 1 region and the second fast connect virtual circuit to the US Phoenix 1 region. Cross-region fast connection does not support VCN to VCN peering for redundancy within the same region. So not a potential answer again. Moving on to option number D. Configure one fast connect virtual circuit to the US Ashburn 1 region and terminate them to diverse hardware on premises. Terminating fast contract on separate on-premises devices ensure hardware level redundancy. So might be a potential answer. So option B and option D will be the correct choice. Okay, let's look into question number 23. As a cloud infrastructure manager at a multinational company, you have tasks that with optimizing data transfer and backup strategy across different regions on Oracle Cloud infrastructure. You decided to utilize the inter-region latency dashboard provided by OCI to gain insight into latency between regions, which is the OCI intern region latency dashboard useful for your task. Okay, let's look into the options. Option A, it focuses solely on latency within your own tenancy, ensuring accurate monitoring of data transfer. The dashboard shows latency between OCI regions globally, not listed in a single tenancy. So not a correct choice. Moving on to option number B. It designed for troubleshooting latency issues within your specific application, providing target insight for optimizing performance. The dashboard shown infrastructure latency, not app specific performance insight. So not a potential answer. Moving on to option number C. It offers an current and historical view of latency snapshot, enabling you to analyze up to 30 days history. The dashboard provides real-time and historical latency data across OCI region, helping optimize cross-region data strategy. Might be a potential answer. Let's keep it. Moving on to option number D. It provides real-time data specific to your tenancy workloads. The latency data reflects OCI backbone performance, not workload specific metrics. So not a potential answer again. So option C will be the correct one. Okay, let's look into question number 24. A firm, a financial firm is designing an application architecture for its online trading platform that should be high availability and fault tolerance. Their solution architect configured the application to use an Oracle Cloud infrastructure. Object storage bucket located in US West region to store large amount of financial data. The stored financial data is the bucket should not be impacted even if there is an outage in one of the availability domain or a complete region. What should the architecture do to avoid any cost service disruption and ensure data durability? Okay, let's look into the options. Option A, create a new object storage bucket in other region and configure lifecycle policy to move data every 5 days. Okay, let's look. Uh, Lifecycle policy manages storage tier transition, not cross-region application. So not a correct choice. Moving on to option number B. Copy the object storage bucket to a block volume. Copy the object storage bucket to a block volume. It's not a correct choice. Moving on to option number C. Create a lifecycle policy to a regular send data from the standard to archive storage. Archiving reducing cost but does not protect against regional outage. So not a potential answer again. Moving on to option number D. Create a replication policy to send data to a different bucket in another OCI region. Cross-region replication ensure data durability and availability even during a full region outage. So option D will be the correct choice. Okay, let's look into the question number 25. Which three capabilities are available in the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure OCI DNS service? Okay, let's look into options. Option A, viewing all zone. OCI DNS lets you view all managed zones, including primary and secondary types. Correct answer. Option number B, creating and managing zones. You can create public or private DNS zones and manage their configuration. Might be a potential answer. Moving on to option number C, creating and managing records. OCI DNS supports adding and managing resources, records like AAAAA, MX, and CNAME within zones. So might be a potential answer again. Moving on to option number D, creating and managing web application firewall rules. WAF rules are managed separately from DNS and are not part of OCI DNS service capability. So option D not a correct choice. So option A, B, C will be the correct one. Okay, let's look into question number 26. In an object storage bucket, you have two objects named Object A and Object B. Object A was last modified 6 months ago and Object B was modified 14 months ago. You created a retention rule and specific a duration of 1 year. What does the rule do? Okay, let's look into the options. Option A, it prevents the modification of detection of object A for the next 6 months and prevents the modification or deletion of object B for the next 2 months. Object B is older than the retention duration, so it's not protected at all. So option is not a potential answer. Moving on to option number B. It prevents the modification or deletion of option object A for the next 6 months and allow the modification or deletion of object B. Object A is within the retention window, so it's protected. Object B is exceeded it and it is not. So might be a potential answer. Let's keep it. Moving on to option number C. It prevents the modification of deletion of object A for the next 12 months and prevented the modification or the deletion for object B for the next 14 months. Retention duration is not addictive and it is based on each object last modification timestamps. So option C not a potential answer again. Moving on to option number D. It prevents the modification or deletion of object A and object B for the next 12 months. Only objects modified within the retention windows are protected. So option D not a correct choice again. So option B will be the correct one. Okay, let's look into question number 27. Which statement is true about restoring a volume from a block volume backup in the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure block volume services? Okay, let's look into the options. Option A, you can restore a volume from any full volume backup but not from an incremental backup. Okay, options are incremental backups is OCI are fully restorable and functional independently for full backups. So option A is not a correct choice. Moving on to option number B, you can restore a block volume backup to a larger volume size. Both full and incremental backups can be used to restore volume independently. So option B might be a potential answer. Let's keep it. Moving on to option number C, you can only restore a volume to a same availability domain in which the original block volume resides. Restore can target any AD within the same region, not just the original one. So option C not a correct choice again. Moving on to option number D. You can restore only one volume from a manual block volume backup. A single backup can be reissued to restore multiple volumes as needed. So option D not a correct choice again. So option B will be the correct one. Okay, let's look into question number 28. Which three protocols are protected by the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure Private Network Load Balancer? Okay, let's look into the options. Option A, ICMP. OCI Private Network Load Balancer support ICMP traffic when source detection header prevention is enabled. So option A might be a potential answer. Let's keep it. Moving on to option number B, TCP. TCP is a core language layer 4 protocol supported for load balancing across backend servers. So option B might be also potential answer. Moving on to option number C. ISCSI. ISCSI is a storage protocol and not supported for OCI network load balancer. Option C not a potential answer. Moving on to option number D. UDP. UDP is also supported, allowing low latency connection, less traffic distribution. So option D also looking good. So option A, B and D will be the correct choice. Okay, let's look into question number 29. What is the primary purpose of a web application acceleration service offered by an Oracle Cloud Infrastructure? Okay, let's look into the options. Option A, encryption HTTP traffic to ensure secure communication between clients and servers. Encryption is handled by SSL and /TLS, not by acceleration service. So option A not a correct answer. Moving on to option number B. Monitoring and analyzing HTTP traffic patterns to identify potential security vulnerabilities. The acceleration service enhance performance, not security or vulnerability analysis. So option B not the correct answer again. Moving on to option number C. Improving the reliability for layer 7 HTTP load balancer by implementing redundancy measure. Reliability is managed through load balancer configuration, not acceleration policies. So option C not the correct choice again. Moving on to option number D. Speeding by traffic on layer 7 HTTP load balancer through caching and compression techniques. Speeding up traffic on load level technique, OCI Web Application Acceleration Service provide improved performance by redundancy, latency, and bandwidth usage using caching and gzip compression. So option D will be the correct choice. Okay, let's look into question number 30. Which two statements are not correct regarding the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure burstable instance? Okay, let's look into the options. Option A. Burstable instance costs less than a regular instance with the same total OCPU count. Burstable shape is OCI offers cost saving for workload that consistently operate within their baseline CPU limits. So option A looking good. Moving on to option number B. Burstable utilization is a fraction of each CPU core, either 25 or 75%. Burstable utilization refers to baseline CPU percentage like 12.5, 25% or 50%, not fixed values like 25 or 75. So option B not a correct choice. Moving on to option number C. Burstable instances are charged according to the baseline OCPUs. So burstable instances are built based on actual OCPU usage, including burst, not just the baseline allocation. So option C not a correct answer. Moving on to option number D. Burstable instances are designed for scenarios whereas instance is not typical idle and has high CPU utilization. Burstable instances are ideal for workloads that are typically idle or have low CPU usage within associated spikes. So option D also looking good. So option A and option D will be the correct choice.